地板，减伤，远离，
头前，
远离，
2、1。
地板，
3、
快斩杀，
2、1。
远离，远离，头前，
3、2、1。
减伤，
This wasn't what we planned for. I had hopes for us, but everything we've built now has crumbled into dust.
减伤，快打满心，
It's for the better
3、
that you find
2、
what you're looking
1。
for. You know I'll always love you, but I loved us more. Loved us more. Loved us more.
快斩杀，减伤，
You've been lonesome, but I'm the same. And I'd be lying if I said that ever changed. And honest to God, I miss who we used to be. But the journey's long to make it back for you and me. This wasn't what we planned for. I had hopes for us, but everything we've built now
斩杀爆发，
into dust. I'll pray it's for the better that you find what you're looking for.
斩杀爆发，
You know I love you, but I loved us more. Loved us more. Loved us more.
减伤，斩杀爆发，快斩杀，远离，远离，
2、1。
斩杀爆发，远离，远离，减伤，
3、2、
减伤，
1。
快斩杀，远离，减伤，毒刃，
3、2。
快打满心， 快斩杀， 毒刃，
3、2、1。
快打满心，
Just can't
3、
快打满星，
2、1。
快斩杀，毒刃，易伤，快斩杀，
3、2、1。
易伤，斩杀爆发，快斩杀，毒刃，快斩杀，快斩杀，易伤，快斩杀，
3、2、1。
毒刃， 斩杀爆发，快斩杀，快斩杀，快打满星，
Your survival wasn't necessary.
Hotel in Miami, I wanna be as fly as I can be. Homie, you don't gotta understand me. I kinda like it on my own. She was the one, then I kicked her out just for fun. Oh well, it's not my fault. I just get to do what I want. Ooh, I really don't care. That's just who I am. Oh, block you out with my headphones until 2 a.m. Oh, chilling on my own. They all think they know me, but they really don't. Oh well, going out sounds like a plan I'm just not about. Oh well, I want a hotel in Miami. I wanna be as fly as I can be. Homie, you don't gotta understand me. I kinda like it on my own. Hey, yeah, we don't wanna lose, we just wanna win. We don't wanna hear you say that we can't. You just wanna chill, we don't wanna talk right now, right now. I really don't care, that's just who I am. Oh, block you out with my headphones until 2 a.m. Oh, chilling on my own. They all think they know me, but they really don't. Oh well, going out sounds like a plan I'm just not about. Oh well, I want a hotel in Miami. I wanna be as fly as I can be. Homie, you don't gotta understand me. I kinda like it on my own. I work way too much, I need a break just to enjoy this life. I cannot sit around and wait and watch you pass me by. So hop in my two-seater, mamacita, let me show you a good time. Put the top down and blast the speakers, and maybe we can enjoy life. Maybe we can enjoy life tonight, and everything will be alright. Baby, I'll show you paradise, and maybe you could be mine, all mine, all mine. Nobody else deserves my time. You could be mine, all mine, all mine. And together, we'll enjoy this life forever. This ain't a life, where is the fun? I guess I'm on my phone too much, huh? We still got time, so let's make use of it. Don't wanna lose this, so hop in my two-seater, mamacita, let me show you a good time. Put the top down and blast the speakers, and maybe we can enjoy life. Maybe we can enjoy life tonight, and everything will be alright. Baby, I'll show you paradise, and maybe you could be mine, all mine, all mine. Nobody else deserves my time. You could be mine, all mine, all mine. And together, we'll enjoy this life forever. 'Cause when you're with me, you don't gotta worry about a thing, my darling. Hold on to me. You don't gotta worry about a thing, my darling. Hop in my two-seater, mamacita, let me show you a good time. Put the top down and blast the speakers, and maybe we can enjoy life. Maybe we can enjoy life tonight, and everything will be alright. Baby, I'll show you paradise, and maybe you could be mine, all mine, all mine. Nobody else deserves my time. You could be mine, all mine, all mine. And together, we'll enjoy this life forever. Baby, you're the best. best, please don't ever worry. Oh, I will never hurt you. You're the best, please don't ever stress. 'Cause oh, I will always love you. Oh, I just want to let you know you're the best. Oh, yeah, I just want to let you know you're the best. Don't tell me that you need me or you want me. Just show me your love. Tell me all your secrets. Give me your heart and don't fear the worst. 'Cause I would never break your heart. I hope you know you're my best friend, baby. I knew then right from the start that you were the one. I know that sometimes we don't see eye to eye, but baby, please don't ever think that we won't be okay. Okay, 'cause baby, you're the best, please don't ever worry. Oh, I will never hurt you. You're the best, please don't ever stress. 'Cause oh, I will always love you. Oh, I just want to let you know you're the best. Oh, yeah, I just want to let you know you're the best. I wanna tell you that I miss you. I wanna see you to show you my love. You're the one I run to. If you want to, I'll give you the world. 'Cause I would never break
5,
your heart.
4,
I hope you
3,
know you're my best
2,
friend, baby.
1.
I knew then right from the start that you were the one. I know that sometimes we don't see eye to eye, but baby, please don't ever think that we won't be okay. Okay, 'cause baby, you're the best, please don't ever worry. Oh, I will never hurt you. You're the best, please don't ever stress. 'Cause oh, I will always love
地板、
you. I just want to
减伤、头前、远离、远离、远离。
1、
地板，斩杀爆发，斩杀爆发，斩杀爆发，毒刃快斩，远离，远离，
3、2、
减伤，
1。
头前，
I'll go anywhere if you'll be by my side. It's alright.
3、2、1。
And I'll say, follow me to the unknown. We'll take the back roads we don't know.
快打满星，
Don't think of gas, don't need a map. Drive too fast, you're my North Star. You're my home. Doesn't matter where we go. Follow me to
减伤，
3、2、1。
快斩杀，
keep you up with all my stories.
毒刃，减伤，
Lose control when I make you laugh.
远离，远离，快斩杀，
By my side, it's alright. 'Cause we left everything behind. Just you and I. Follow me to the unknown.
远离，减伤，远离，毒刃，远离，远离，
Drive too fast. You're my North Star. You're my home. Doesn't matter where we go. Follow me to the unknown. Follow me.
远离，远离，减伤，远离，远离，斩杀爆发，远离，远离，
Dropped up on the boardwalk on the hood of my car. Parked out by the beach, we're catching shooting stars.
快打满星，
Other place you know I'd rather be. You sipped a piece, laying next to me. Dropped up on the boardwalk on the hood of my car. Parked out by the beach, we're catching shooting stars. We'll take the back roads we don't know. Let's get lost.
快打满星，
3、
地板，
2、1，
地板，地板，地板，快斩杀，毒刃，
2、1，
地板，地板，快打满星，地板，毒刃，地板，地板，地板，地板，快打满星，
Your survival
快斩杀，
wasn't necessary.
Please be true. In other words, I love you. Someday, when I'm awfully low and the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. Oh, fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, please be true. Oh, in other words, oh, in other words, oh, in other words, I love you. In other words, I love you. I think that I need some space. I guess I lied to your face when I said I'm 20 minutes away. Now it's getting late, don't know what to say. I think I gotta be alone. If I come through tonight, I might lose my mind, 'cause it's always how it goes. I regret it, so I know I'm flaky. Friends are gonna hate me. When did every maybe turn into not tonight? I'm in a daydream, energy is fading. So don't wait, I'll probably fake. Maybe I'm selfish, but who am I helping if I bring the team down? It's all on me now. I thought I already told you. I think I gotta be alone. If I come through tonight, I might lose my mind, 'cause it's always how.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
地板，头前，
3、
远离，
2、
远离，
1。
减伤，斩杀爆发，快斩杀，远离，远离，
3、2、1。
减伤，快打满星，
3、2、1。
毒刃，快斩杀，
3、2、1。
快斩杀，减伤，快打满星，
3、
远离，远离，快斩杀，斩杀爆发，地板，
3、
快斩杀，
1。
减伤，远离，远离，远离，快斩杀，减伤，远离，远离，减伤，地板，地板，减伤，地板，地板，快打满星，
3、2、1。
毒刃，远离，快斩杀，远离，远离，
3、2、1，
斩杀爆发，斩杀爆发，远离，远离，快打满星，毒刃，远离，远离。 快打满星，
3、2、1，
毒刃，快斩杀，
I simply wish you had lasted a little longer.
3、2、1，
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
地板，远离，远离，头前，
3、2、1，
减伤，地板，斩杀爆发，远离，
3、
远离，
2、1，
减伤，毒刃，头前，减伤，
3、2、1，
快打满星，减伤，
3、2、1，
减伤，快斩杀，毒刃，减伤，快斩杀，远离，远离，
3、2、1，
远离，远离，斩杀爆发，斩杀爆发，减伤，
3、2、1，
地板，地板，毒刃，远离，远离，减伤，地板，地板，快打满星，毒刃，快打满星，地板，地板，
3、
快斩杀，
2、1，
地板，毒刃，快斩杀，地板，地板，地板，地板，地板， 斩杀爆发
3、2、1。
地板，地板，地板，头前快打满星，减伤，头前
3、2、1。
地板，地板，头前快斩杀，减伤，头前地板伤，地板，头前，头前，地板，
3、2、1。
毒刃，头前，头前，头前，头前，头前，毒刃，
3、2、
头前，
1。
头前，毒刃，头前，头前，快斩杀，斩杀爆发，
3、2、1。3、
毒刃，
头前
快斩杀，
1。
头前，头前，快斩杀，毒刃， 快斩杀，快打满星，
三、二、一，
斩杀爆发，快斩杀，
三、二、一，
快打满星，毒刃，快斩杀，毒刃，快打满星，
三、二、一，
快斩杀，毒刃，
三、二、一，
快斩杀，快斩杀，斩杀爆发，斩杀爆发，
with the double light spawn, that can also cause a pretty substantial time loss if you're not careful with the light spawn heal, that burst of light, like big AoE heal. And so making sure that Physical God Comp had that clean and consistent, those are probably the biggest points of this dungeon that they could incur huge time losses on.
Yeah, I did. As you were saying that, I was quickly looking at the score, because I was thinking, like, how close are we to the end of the day, right? I mean, there's still 2 hours left, but looking at the score, like, all of the teams are so incredibly close to each other when it comes to the amount of dungeons they've timed, right? This is actually absolutely crazy. Looking at the 16s, because obviously it looks like a huge difference. Physical God Comp and Modicum of Skill, they are quite a bit behind, but in a little bit, once Modicum of Skill finishes off the 16, and once Physical God Comp finishes off, well, actually they still have to go to the Rookery, right? But once they get those 16 points on the board, then all of the teams will be within like a point of each other. So all of these teams are really, really close, and any of them can make it into top 2. Like, we can have any combination of top 2 here at the end of the day. Star Humanity does go down. They do have Battle Ross available. Just came up actually too. They have to be very careful here. And they're missing the 2 chests, unfortunately, as well.
Yeah,
so that
is
means they're
very
gonna have to play at
unfortunate for them.
17.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty bad for their time on the day. Of course, there's still opportunities for them to be able to make it to Sunday, but that does set them pretty far back. That's a great point. They actually could 2 chests to 17, and then if they time the 19, then it's like no harm, no foul. It's actually like they lost no time with the difference in dungeons. Now, it does require them to time the 17, which I don't think is particularly easy, but if they don't have the 4 deaths, if they say go deathless, it should be definitely doable. But something that you were saying as well, whenever you're talking about the scores, I think it's kind of the difference between going wide versus going tall, where Physical God Comp, they're going tall with their dungeons, where they're trying to do close to what they believe the cap of the dungeon that is required from them to be able to qualify to Sunday is, and then they will then move on to the next dungeon, where teams like Holy Method or RCG are going wide, where they're trying to put up scores in each and every single dungeon, and then they'll move on to the next dungeon. It's just kind of a difference in strategy.
Yeah, it is a difference in strategy for sure. So I guess it's going to be hard for us to be able to tell who's going to make it until the very end, once we do see Physical God Comp actually move to Flaggate. But yeah, there's the Bloodlust. 18 minutes.
With divers?
Oh, wow. Divers is actually somewhat interesting on Swampface here.
So that's great if you have an Arcane Mage, because that would be just excellent funnel. So you see teams pulling trash into Swampface pretty consistently, whether it be the Crocs or whatever. They'll also sometimes pull crowd bombs at like 20% HP. But the divers, those are pretty rare to actually have into the boss. Now, they do have anti-sync on their kick, but if you end up missing a kick on this, that diver probably wipes you.
You know, I'm going to take a second here. I'm going to grab Makes and bring her in. And Nigara, we are going to actually have you leave the desk, but we'll see you later this weekend. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. Tomorrow. Enjoy.
Bye. All right. Makes, get in here. Dovetail in. I know you had something you wanted to add into the convo.
Yeah, it's actually not the first time we're seeing this today, because Modicum of Skill did exactly that same pull with the divers onto Swampface, and it added tons of difficulty and danger to them, as they did lose one of their players, but they were able to pull it off in the end, which seems to be the same story for Holy Method here as well. So seems like that's a new trend among our teams to get the divers in here on this boss, after we did see the Crocs before, right?
It's yeah, exactly. We have seen the Crocs and we have seen the bomb shell crabs at like, I would say like 20 to 30-ish% is when those mobs get pulled in. But it's normally an Arcane Mage thing, but they don't have. Where's the Arcane Mage? Like, we're just doing the divers.
It might just be that this is their route, and because they didn't want to change it for the 18, and they know that that's what they're planning to do on a potential 1920, that they're just pulling it like that, even though it doesn't add as much value as it would with the Arcane Mage. Of course, I mean, Vildi is going to be really excited about his Ignite spreading onto those divers regardless. It makes numbers go big, and players love to see that.
That's right, that's right. You know what? And by this logic, Wexy as well could just pad on the divers and get, what would we call it? Nature's Vigil funnel? Yeah, we could heal with Nature's Vigil. That's good. Yeah. That's a good
so you just have to like lay it out in a way.
So like you know, if you're playing a Ret Paladin as well, Divine Storm, every single time you press it, it also heals. So yeah, you know what? That's not pad. I'm converting that to HPS.
Hey, if the mobs need to die, it doesn't count as padding. It just counts as ethical AoE damage. That's how I see it. But you're welcome to disagree in chat. Just a quick mention, because unfortunately, one of her teams was not able to put the 16+2 on the board, and we were talking about that earlier, saying how important it is to get the +2s because it saves you from needing to run the 17, and these teams are trying to push the key as high as possible. Modicum of skill not able to get the 16+2 in the rookery here, and of course we also know that that is something that they were trying to do. Hopefully that will throw them back just a little bit.
Yeah. Physical God comp here in this 19 is also on a bit of a heater. They had Captain Dalecry killed off in 1248. That tends to be on like the pretty long end of Dalecry. You want to normally have around a 12-minute first boss split, especially whenever they are 3-pulling this area. Some teams will elect to 2-pull this part of the dungeon, but I think that Physical God Comp, their plan is to play more consistent than the other teams and go deathless in this dungeon. If they do so, at 1248 Dalecry is absolutely possible to be able to time this key with the route that they're playing. But again, it's going to require that level of commitment to being clean throughout the entire thing. You can't afford any major mistakes from here on out.
That's right, and everybody else was able to get the 16+2s on the board, right? I mean, of course, Physical God Comp hasn't ventured into that floodgate just yet, so that is still out, the jury's still out on that one, but every single dungeon out of the other teams was +2'd on the 16, so that just throws you back so much right now, and in a group that is already as close and as tight as this one, I feel like that might actually set you up for a potential gravity mistake, but we're going to be seeing how
mistake.
It plays.
That's a good point.
Right, grave mistake. I was thinking about the word. Come on, Teddles.
I'm
Be
sorry.
nice.
I don't. Drados isn't here, but I gotta do it. I gotta stop it. Dude, he always does it to me, so whatever I can do it to somebody else, I'm sorry.
Straight up rude.
Listen, I only speak one language, so you got me there at least.
I mean, I'm welcome. I'm happy to switch to languages here as well, but I don't think chat would enjoy it too
Moving
much.
on to Holy Method here. We got them in the 18 Operation Floodgate. They're actually making great time. A 2111 Swamp Face. You tend to need somewhere around like a 24-minute Swamp Face to be the minimum amount of time that is required to actually be able to time this dungeon. But Holy Method with a 21-minute Swamp Face, they're making great pace. Now, they aren't going to have Bloodlust for Giesel Gigazap. Nagur and I were kind of speculating as to where their lust is supposed to be whenever they go and do this dungeon potentially on a 19. Still absolutely have no idea. Like, is it supposed to be pressed on CD at that 10-minute mark? Are they actually saving it for Swamp Face for minute 19 in the 19? Maybe? I feel like it's unlikely, but it's certainly possible.
I think it'll just work out on the higher levels in, like, a nicer way than it does right now. I think they're just too fast for where they're planning to. I think that's also the same like we were talking about with the divers, where it's just like, yeah, that's probably just how their route looks on the higher levels, and they didn't really bother to do something different for the 18 since what they're doing works, and so we're getting a little bit of like weird situations with where that lust is sitting and where some of the pulls aren't as efficient as they would be on some other characters, and I think that's just precisely showing you that these routes were not made for the 18, they were made for the 19 and the 20s.
Ooh, a nice skip here by Holy Method. So that skip, whenever you're doing it with the double jump starters, is actually very, very dangerous because they immediately start pulsing on your group for a massive amount of AoE. So you have to actually press defenses or go into bear form, or you could potentially even pre-mass barrier that, like you actually saw from Wildy there, to make sure that they are able to deal with that skip. On top of that as well, Standard can't press Penance whenever the jump starters are pulled, because Penance does this thing where if it's like casted as like a heal Penance, it will target the jump starters and combat them. And so your disc actually has a really hard time of doing that skip, so that's why it has to be done as fast as possible there.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We are looking good on the overall timer here as well. I am glancing across the board to see how it is looking for everyone else. I am always a little bit worried when I see yeah, exactly, production's catching up on it. When I see non-DK teams. Oh, good job, Tettles. When I see non-DK teams in this dungeon here, we were talking about it a fair bit in that 18 as well. A lot of the dots just get kind of laid off onto Squish, but it's like a lot of danger he's in every time he soaks those.
Yeah, and you would think, oh, they have a rogue. Their rogue can surely cloak these, but rogue cloak works worse, a lot worse actually than AMS, where you have to soak the dots and then you cloak it off after the fact, which means that you'd have to take like 3 or 4 stacks of that dot and it would be ticking on you before you're available to cloak it off, which is what you caught Walks doing there at the very end. But kind of like you pointed out, Squish having 2 stacks of that dot, it makes him take just so much more damage than having that nice, comfy DK being able to AMS each and every single time.
Absolutely does. He even went up to 3 on the 18, so I think that might still be a possibility with the 5er stack that they do, because it's like Squish takes 3 and then
the 5, I think,
the Rogue and the Warrior take 1 each. But yeah, that should be the one. Let's look how they play it out. Squish takes the first one, takes the second one as well. Walks has 1 on him. Noxy goes in, and I think Squish takes the third one as well. But yeah, we'll see.
He'd probably let the 2 stack expire, so you have 25 seconds.
Yeah.
Before...
See, and there we go. Okay.
Wow, this is tough. I'm gonna level with you guys in chat. This is really hard.
Yeah.
This is twice as hard as any group with the DK.
Oh, careful. I'm always scared when teams already move towards the soak puddle before the Castigator shield comes out, because you can overlap these in like an unfortunate way, and then you need to wait a long time before you can soak them. But it all worked out here for Physical God. What's kind of the timer we're looking for, Tettles, here on the Baron Brown Pike split? It's of course still a 19, but I think, I was talking a fair bit with Dratnos about this, I think 19-19-19 is probably safe for Sunday, and then if any team wants to do a bonus run, it would be 20-19-19.
Pulling it up, so a nice Baron Braun Pike splits around like the 20-30-ish mark, and that I would describe as like the minimum available time to be able to time the key. Anything past that, and you're looking, it's going to be really tight. I think a 20-30 allows you to be able to clear out the room, and assuming that you don't make any major mistakes, don't miss any kicks, and no volleys go off, you should be totally fine. And they are right up against that 20-30 mark that I called out.
Yeah, I think it's like 32 in the end there, but we are, of course, going to check back in once they're in the big room.
Yeah, really quickly, because you two touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to also ask, so, Tettles, yesterday we saw Yer, who went with the same kind of, as you like to sort of phrase it, Yer pushing vertically, right, as opposed to horizontally, so trying to push each individual dungeon up as high as they can. But it seemed like yesterday with them, they spent a little too much time doing that, right? We had like 2.5 hours or so spent on pushing up to 20, and that did cost them at the end of the day. So in your opinion, Tettles, how does Physical God Comp's push for plus 19s kind of compare in pacing to what they did yesterday?
So they did spend a little bit more time in the 19 Rookery than I think they would have wanted to. I think they ended up resetting probably twice in that Rookery 19. But I think that they are in a much different situation than what we saw from Yuri yesterday. First and foremost, they only have an Operation Floodgate left available to them after they time this Priory. Assuming that they time this Priory, but after they time this Priory, they only have that Operation Floodgate, which we know is capped at a 19. And I think that ultimately as well, this day is a lot lower ceiling on some of the dungeons than we saw yesterday, with that 20 being able to be the highest level for that Motherload. What ended up happening? Was RCG wiping?
RCG, yeah, they had some deaths there. We might need to call for...
that Operation Floodgate, which we know, assuming that they time this Priory, but after they time this Priory, they only have that Operation Floodgate, which we know is capped at a 19. And I think that ultimately as well, this day is a lot lower ceiling on some of the dungeons than we saw yesterday, with that 20 being able to be the highest level for that Motherload. What ended up happening? Was RCG...
That unravels the entire pull that they had going here. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it does happen, but I mean, those are kind of the problems that you can face in this dungeon. It's why whenever we saw Wunderbar on, I think it was the final day, we saw Genji like body pulling trash mobs to make sure that they had fewer of those Templars in that pull, because they just do so much damage to your tank. I think it's really difficult to understate just how much damage that they can actually do to your tank.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. But that's, of course, a big time loss. And you were just mentioning how tight this group is. I feel like out of all of our groups, this one is like so incredibly close. Group B in general, but then specifically this split of 4 teams are just all kind of neck and neck. And every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes that you lose throughout the day might actually be what does you in for at the end. So these teams really can't afford too many of these mistakes.
What do you think Physical God Comp lusts here? Do we think they're taking a trash pack into Sir Braunpike, or do you think they're going to do Sir Braunpike solo? Kind of an interesting decision point.
We were talking about this when they were here in the 18. I, of course, don't know if that's what they're going to be doing in the 19 as well, but I was saying, you know, I was hoping they would go for the big pull onto the mini-boss, onto Braunpike, but they don't actually do that. They leave both of the packs that are next to the stairs open, and then they take those into boss. But they finish out the mini-boss before with one of the light spawn packs, I think. So it is still big pulls that they're doing, but they have them kind of spread out a little bit differently. Partially probably also because of the target cap that, of course, their comp is a little bit more affected by than some of the other comps. So it does make sense that they're pathing a little bit differently through that room. So I'm actually curious where that timer is going to be sitting, but we did see one of their players actually going down here. I believe it was the Hunter that died for Physical God Compass now on their way back to the rest of the team.
Yeah, and on the big screen here, we have Holy Method starting up their 19 Operation Floodgate, and they are going straight into Big Mama as the first pull in the dungeon. I absolutely love this. I think the really more interesting point is, where is their second lust going to be? Is it going to be on CD? Is there like a architect pull that they're going to be looking to press that lust on? Is it going to be maybe one of those box pulls that they're looking to press their lust on? I think that this is absolutely a phenomenal pull as well. And on top of that, it's a great way of learning this dungeon because Big Mama is actually just so difficult for your tank. The tank damage that is applied to this boss is absolutely insane. If you give me a second, I can actually look to see what Andy is wearing trinket-wise. Okay, so he's playing double DPS trinket still. He's playing the Eye Kazan and the Sephorium Pacemaker. You could, in theory, wear the Mud trinket, and I know the Mud trinket is really OP versus this boss if you're ever actually scared about the fight. But at the same point, you know, Andy knowing how much damage he's going to be taking and just making sure that he overlaps his defensive CDs perfectly, hopefully he's able to live through this fight, but it's still very dangerous because of those Electro Crushes.
Yeah, I love this because not only are they taking a lot of trash into the boss, they're immediately slamming that lust, they're pathing through this boss fight really nicely where they're always hugging the wall, making sure those doom storms aren't actually spawning exactly on their team, so they're making their life a little bit easier with dodging that as well. Is Physical God Comp playing trash into Sir Braunpike with lust? Is that what's going down right here? Yep.
Hold on, Mix. We got a movie going on here, and look at Banchers here, standing maximum range as well to not be casted on by any of these light spawns or anything else. It's a very heads-up play by their team.
Yeah. So the purification that the light spawn does is very, very nasty. It's a lot of damage, and notably, you know, hunters are not the most steadfast class on the overall scale of things. So Bancher's just saying, okay, I don't actually want to deal with it. I'll go max range. I'm not gonna take any of that damage. But yeah, I feel like they've been relying a lot on the utility that the hunter brings, which usually is not something you would say in any other scenario.
Our timer's tight. I'm gonna level with you. I think our timer's gonna be pretty close here. In theory, I think this fight's only supposed to be without lust around the 4:50 to 5 minute mark, but they do have fortunately enough 5 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. But that kind of starts getting chipped away if you end up having to commit any of your damage into like AoE, and it's like inefficient AoE if you're using like pad AoE globals. But I think Physical God Comp should be on the good side of the timer here, assuming that they're not going to get blown up by these footmen.
Yeah, they need to be really careful with that. We saw earlier in the 18 how Wax was actually using Cheap Shot to make sure that nothing was going wrong there. You can see the kill streak there coming in as well, just looking so cool on that rogue. But I agree. I think they need to be a little bit careful with their timer. We're going to see where their pacing kind of sits ones. They're actually moving up. You can see Banchers here re-trapping that priest, or trying at least. It didn't work. It's back in the group here, but it was trapped before. And they are finishing out on the footman here as well. And I think that's all of them now down. The group has taken significant damage, but I think all of them have been finished. It's only the priest that is in there right now, and they can push the boss now.
They have actually pretty good inner fire and blinding light timings here. So the inner fire is kind of weird as to when you want to be kicking the cast, the Holy Smite on Prioress Murpray. And if you lock it out at the right time, you typically need like a 6-second lockout. You need like a mage lockout normally to be able to guarantee it. But if you actually just let these Holy Smites go through most of the time, it will actually allow that blinding light. You see on screen right here, this blinding light to happen prior to the inner fire AoE, and that reduces the amount of damage that's taken on your group by a tremendous amount, and it turns that blinding light from an ability that can potentially kill you off to an ability that can no longer kill you off under any circumstances.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I just love seeing it. I think they dealt really quickly with all of the footmen as well, given that we were talking about like how their timer is kind of looking and how their time is kind of tight. I don't think they're like way under, but I think the timer is good for this comp as they are now moving up. Prioress Murpray should be phasing any second now. And we'll see how quickly they deal with that shield as well, while we are hopping over to Holy Method, who have finished out Big Mama on that 19. It's the first 19 floodgates that we are seeing here today. And it's interesting to me that Holy Method decided to like start in the Priory, then go to the Rookery, then go into the floodgate, and here is where they're actually going to be sending that first 19, because of course now they're also on the main specs that we're expecting them to go for on the Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those situations that they don't. The only way that they could accidentally get something banned, I'm not jealous, that they didn't want to, is if they ended up spending like say too much time trying to prog the 19 floodgate or try to prog the 19 rookery without having put up times in the prior to the Sacred Flame or floodgate, for example. And so it's one of those things that they make sure that they put up that baseline 18 in every single dungeon on the composition or some of the specializations that they want to get banned, and then they start to do those dungeons on 19 with the specializations that they want to maintain for Sunday. And I think it just makes a lot of sense as to how Holy Method has done this strategy, and it's kind of similar to what we saw from Mistcount yesterday or Wunderbar last weekend.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think we kind of need to look back to Physical God Comp as that dungeon timer is getting closer. They have 2 minutes and 24% on the boss. Nice little turtle there, helping yourself a little bit while you're running out of the beam in the back. You're trying to also clear the space next to the altar. It's good if you have like a little bit of an agreement on that, of like, oh, we're trying to like save this specific spot, especially if you run as many melees as Physical God Comp is, you know? You don't want to be moving the entire boss all of the time, so...
We call those traffic rules, like the loosely required rules of how you're doing that. And something that I actually see is super interesting, and I see Bancher's doing it quite often, is I think that he's able to LOS the blinding light AoE on these little pillars that are off to the side. Is that actually what he's doing? Because I saw him doing it earlier in the 18, but I didn't recognize the fact that he wasn't taking damage from the blinding light AoE.
Oh, maybe we get to see it one more time. Yeah, he is hiding here, but...
It looks like he took damage. No?
See it one more time? Yeah, he is.
Damage from the blinding light AoE.
Oh, maybe we get to see it one more time. Yeah, he is hiding here, but...
It looks like he took damage, no?
It looks like he took damage, yeah. Maybe it's only working when she's a bit closer to the side, or maybe it's just so he doesn't actually have to turn around. That might just be it. Because, like, if you are hiding, if you're not in line of sight, then the blinding light also can't hit you. So it might not be for the damage, it might just be for the effect.
Yeah, could be. Very interesting, but at the same point, Physical God Comp put up their second 19 of today. Being able to put up that 19 prior to the Sacred Flame puts them in a great position to be able to make it to Sunday. Now they only have to do is make sure that they actually take their break, because if they have to pay a 5-point penalty, bad news, they will not be making it to Sunday.
That's right. We still have a couple of breaks that need to be taken. Just to keep you updated, it looks like they are going on break as the team card does come up. They have 40 more minutes to take these breaks, so all of the teams that are in runs right now are safe, but they should be taking them after the runs that they are in right now. Holy Method still needs 10. Physical God Comp still needs 10, which you're probably taking right now. Modicum of Skill also needs 10. The only team that's done is RCG. They don't need any more breaks still, and that allows us to take a little bit of a closer look at the other 19. that is being done
Yeah.
right now, which is our floodgate.
I actually love what Thanner did right here, and it was actually kind of subtle, but he went and jumped on top of this box, which allows you to not have to move from these saw blades underneath your feet, and then he goes and grips Wexy. What this allows Wexy to do is then it allows their Moonkin to stay planted the entire time and not have to worry about moving out of the way of these saw blades, and allows him just a little bit better uptime on this. Whenever I'm playing with the Disc Priest, anytime they grip me on top of the box, I am just fist pumping the air. Like, okay, this is the greatest day of my entire life. Like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. It's a subtle thing, but it's actually a pretty large damage gain for the Balancer to be gripped up here. And look at this. You see Wexy, he's doing 15 million DPS, and it just kind of proves that while it is obnoxious for your priest to do that for you, it's still pretty valuable.
So the way you get on the box is actually by utilizing the little chain machine that you can see on the left there. You have to get up on the wheels of it, and then you can jump on over to the box, and then you can jump on the higher box, which is what the priests are doing. Just in case you're wondering how to replicate that in your own keys, this is the path you have to take.
You can actually jump from it from like the front, but it requires like a very specific angle as well to be able to jump at it from. But if you can get on it just at all, it's one of those things that it's a huge time save. So where is Holy Method lusting? So their Bloodlust has just come up. We are at 11 minutes and 50 seconds into the dungeon. Are they going to be pressing this on CD Makes? What do you think? Are they going to be holding it for minute 19 for Swamp Face on pull?
I mean, it doesn't look like they're pressing it here. I think if you're not pressing it here, you have to hold it. Yeah, at this point, I think it's just okay, we need it on Swamp Face. It is kind of dicey to have the divers into Swamp Face, which I'm very much expecting them to do. So it's just, they think it's higher value there than slamming it on cooldown, it looks like.
Yeah, very, very interesting from Holy Method. At the same point, you know, whenever they're doing the divers into Swamp Face on pull with that Arcane Surge and Bloodlust, that is a pretty big damage gain. It might actually end up being a bigger damage gain than gaining the additional lust over the course of the entire dungeon. It's a, you know, a conversation as old as time. Would you rather get better lusts, or would you rather get better lusts, or would you rather get more lusts? And typically you go for more lusts, but sometimes the really big value lust is the most important one here.
I think it's partially also because Swamp Phase is a very hard boss,
dude,
so it also helps your healer. What is it?
This pull right here is demonic, by the way.
You need to be so careful with these. You can see like how low their ranges are dropping. Every single of these pinches, if it goes on to anyone that's not a tank, you are crying.
Well, Willie's an ice cold here. It's a situation as well where it's double Surveyor with the Easy Throw Dynamites and the Architect with the Nail Gun Dot
at a certain
over and over
percentage,
again.
they shouldn't actually be doing that, but yeah,
like 100 to 0 if they're not careful, or if the mobs aren't desynced easily. So you can cage them to try to desync the Easy Throw Dynamites against one another. You can potentially press like Asphyxiate, I guess would be the only other really good single target CC here, but it's actually a very dangerous pull and not one that's super common. That Architect is at a sliver of HP. That's like what?
Just not right.
1.5% maybe? So
yeah, that's how it sometimes is. It's just, sometimes they get that. I feel like at a certain percentage, maybe we can pitch this, at a certain percentage, they shouldn't actually be doing that. But yeah, 11 seconds? I don't think so, Tunnels.
Oh my god, they're gonna be like 10 seconds off on this 2 chest. The Guru and I were talking about this before you joined. Like, Monokuma Skill only 1 chested their 16. We're like, actually, it's not even that big of a deal if they 2 chest the 17. They can actually get up to 19 rather quickly. But the fact that they're only 1 chesting the 17 puts them in a very difficult position, just in terms of time that's required for the remainder of the day.
Yeah, that's right. The +2 on the 17 would have been kind of redemption for losing out on the +2 on the 16, right? You only ended up being here because it was like 6 seconds that they missed on the 16, so 1 death less could have just saved that whole run. Didn't happen. Now the 17 also not going to have that +2, means yet another run they will have to do to maybe catch up to the rest of the group, and slowly but surely we are seeing some separation between a group that seemed incredibly tight. Quick mention, Tanner also going...
I'm giving y'all a 2-minute timer.
Bro, my gut just
I'm back.
Absolutely fired up. Holy
2 minutes
shit.
and we're heading out.
Okay, I don't know where.
Casted on me.
Just
south.
random. Just random. Okay.
How come I
we're
can't
gonna just
find
run
this
south.
party?
I'm a Freya. I'm in y'all's team.
Okay, I feel like I can't even see you on the map. Why is that?
Oh, there's only 2 in our party now. Did you?
Yeah, Soda left a group of Tyler. Says you, me, Ember.
Oh, okay, cool.
What's the
I don't know where Ember is.
what's
I
the
can't
score?
find
We have at least 20 points.
We probably don't want to know.
her. I think we're ahead by at least a little bit for now.
All right. Let's try and maintain our lead here.
Yeah.
Oh wait, well
Guys,
we're at
get
base.
water.
Let's drink up, Pika. Yeah, let's get tons of water.
All right. I
Or
have
here.
tons of water.
Okay, how about this? How about one of you guys drinks your water, then trades me your water jug, and then I drink it, and then I give it back.
Dude, you can drink water in the base.
Yeah, there's water in the
Yeah, but I
base.
don't have a jug to put it in.
I don't have a jug either. Just fill up and
No,
let's
I don't
go.
think- Yeah, you just camel up.
I'm almost there.
Okay.
I'm gonna meet up at the water
I can't
thing.
see you. That's so weird. Unless I'm looking at the wrong thing.
I'm
Hey, Spider-Man.
Freya. Are you Odin?
Down here for Holy Method as they are working on the Demolition Duo, but was battle rest up, and we're also seeing the ads up here in the boss, which is something we've been seeing a lot of.
I really like the trash pull into the boss. I know that we first saw this last weekend by Wunderbar actually grabbing that trash through that gate, but it's such an easy way of being able to get a little bit of bonus count and have that great funnel. What exactly does Unholy DK get funnel-wise? I know they get some strength whenever they drop their Defile, right?
Yeah, you can just, as long as everything is in the Defile, that's always the issue with, especially a boss like this one, right? That's where you start crying a little bit, because Bront does not want to be with the rest of the group, but at least the ads are there, so that's also why you often see the Melees just cleave off of Kiza and hope that the Rangers are focusing Bront for the most part, unless he's close to the other boss.
It's the Moonkin's job to not de-target Bront ever. Like I'll target that guy and I just like never click off of him. And then anytime he comes, it sucks because the Arcane Mage also wants to cleave off of Kiza, especially if there's funnel on top of that mob. So kind of a weird situation where you can actually get the mobs poorly aligned HP wise. I guess is probably the best way of describing it. If you're not careful. But oh my god, Holy Method with an absolute banger of a charge from Bront, being able to get pretty much every single mine and then just charge it over and over again into the wall. A Melee's dream charge.
It is, yeah. We've been seeing a lot of it where they just try to keep it next to Kiza as well, even if there is another bomb, because they know they get one more gel just to dispel that last bomb, and they value, of course, the cleave damage, and having Bront near Kiza much more than having the charge deal with the bomb. They just...
And then AFK. I got some good stretches then.
We're back to Big Mama Hellscape.
Oh
Yep.
god.
Shut up,
Killer. Oh, they're gonna like our strat here. I bet no one else does this, right?
Yeah. No one else cares.
Alright, back and forth,
back
back
and
and forth.
Purple. Hello, one guy. Hit the boss.
Can get my third lightning fully.
Alright, try and be like in the center of those two mercs, Squish, like right where I'm at. This will be good. Yeah.
Should have to pay for 3 phase in the 16. Oh my god, I got hit by a circle.
Oh, sorry, reload those.
We actually talked about that, getting hit by a circle in the 16. Getting out.
To the wall. Great bait. Wait,
Thank
just
you.
kidding.
Yeah, it's not my fault. Oh, it's the high health one.
I thought it was the other way around, yeah. Alright, to the wall, to the wall.
Oh my god, that guy's just sitting out there. It's so cringe.
That was yeah. Okay.
Alright, next to wall, to wall, to wall, to wall. Always go left. You guys are going right. You can never go right. Skull first. Skull bait. And then you go left. Alright.
We're not gonna have True Shot, but we will have Avatar.
Yeah. Not a skull. Oh, these are like stacked. That's my bad. Let me fix this. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Alright, blue first. Don't be in the corner or you're trolling. Now you get a skull.
Now I get a cocoon.
Perfect. Back to blue. Loop around. We're waiting on blue. Now we're going skull. Then we're looping around. You like go towards the boss and then you wiggle around, you go back to blue. Alright, we're phasing shortly. Skull. Alright, killer. We might be able to kill her in 16 even though I'm sent. That's kind of sick.
She's dead, she's dead.
Yeah, big outlaw damage here.
Holy, are we outlawing?
Not dead. I fucking lied.
I just don't have true shot.
You lied to like thousands.
But I
of
do
viewers.
have.
This is so embarrassing. We're not three phasing in a 16. Everyone's watching us like right now.
It's
Who are these
fine.
guys?
It's all good.
You think they're all judging
Imposters.
us?
Look how we're so
Yeah.
even on the meters.
Yeah.
While
Alright,
we were walks pulled ahead of us.
I'm pulling the inspectors and the soldiers for you, Squish.
Alright, we're going down.
Alright.
I have Moon. Someone else get the other sniper.
They're coming. Rush
wait.
the threat.
Alright,
Alright,
you
we're sending.
Try to stack for the inspectors. You can roar here, the inspectors.
Roar.
Nice. Great control.
Kick.
Shockwave the next inspectors. While you can wait till like the end of the first one, you should get both.
Reflect.
Parrot.
So I don't fight loader bots anymore. We can use stops on inspectors.
Yeah.
Are we going
Fine.
up the stairs, right?
Yep, to the blood warper.